Okay, it is May 2024. Happy Dog Farm, also known as Shadow Cider Company here in Russell, Pennsylvania. I owe you a video, an update of what's going on. I am now available on tap in town. I'm legal. I have 20 kegs that I'm cycling through. Kegging first was a good thing for me because bottling is expensive. I can, it's completely a recyclable activity. Get the keg back, bring it back and forth. And it's the least amount of labor, which is a huge issue for me, to fill kegs as opposed to filling a whole bunch of bottles, labeling them, and then having to distribute them. So that's my two bits. Um, as my production technique, I just want to share some of the steps I go through so that you benefit maybe from it. Obviously, I have bulk tanks, fermenters around me that hold the cider. It is the base cider. It may either get blended with a fruit flavor or other apple varieties that I have that you are out of view. Um, what I will do is I will put that juice into a bulk tank, which is this one holds 3 kegs. This one holds 10 kegs. And I will first of all establish the base. Now, I'm kind of rigorous about my base in that, and I've got a little list here. I add the malic acid first to bring it to 5 grams per liter. And I do that first to make it there because that's going to be the lowest pH I can get. So I will get the most benefit from my 40 parts per million of sulfite that I'm going to use to stabilize it as an antioxidant. And I just use 40. That's my thing. I'm not going to go back and check the chart. It's too late. Done. All right. Then if I'm sweetening, which I always am now, even a bone dry cider does not sell well on tap around here. I got to pay the rent, so to speak. So I'm adding sugar. Because I'm adding sugar, I add sorbate. I'm doing 100 parts per million. Now, first of all, when I put the malic in the SO2, I will be running a circulating pump on this to make sure that it's thoroughly blended in. And that's like a 15 to 30 minutes each to get a good circulation into the tank. Then the sorbate goes in. Little word of advice. It's better to just blend the sorbate into a bone dry cider or water. It doesn't dissolve well if you start getting a higher gravity fluid. So sorbate goes in, blend it, work it in there, make sure it's all happy. Then the sugar goes in on top of the sorbate after it's all been put around. And again, I will start off with usually with like 5 grams per liter. And if I'm using like an amaretti artisan flavoring, it's got very high bricks. So I have to calculate because I don't like to go above 10 grams per liter for sweetness. The bars appreciate that. They get a lot of very sweet Alcopop ciders from down south. What they want is something drier so that people can taste their food. So totally up to you what you do, but I'll have tasting panels come in from folks who are at the bar and they help me set that sugar level. How do they want to balance the acid? How do they want it to work with the flavor? Cranberry they expect drier with cranberry than they do with peach. Good to know. It's reflected in my formulas, it's reflected in my logs. So I fill this up. Now, until you add flavor, they're all base, okay? They're all pretty much base. So if I want to make 9 cakes or 10 cakes, I'm better off filling the big tank and making a large batch of base. Okay, this is the stuff. Because to drain it and fill it, drain it and fill it, that's time consuming. It's a waste of time. And Lord, I have wasted a lot of time until it dawned on me, I've got this larger tank. So I'll fill this tank up, get this to, and I mark it has markings in gallons, which no one uses but us, but it's marked in kegs now. All right, so I can just say I need up so many kegs, and that's what I do. Um, then I can gravity feed or pump into the blending tank. This now has become really a blending tank where the flavor gets added or any additional sugar for that flavor, starting with a base of 5 grams per liter. It goes into here. Once it's in here, once it's circulated for over an hour, roughly an hour, and I'm using the Zambelli pump for that, get a good blend in it, I can pump it directly into kegs. Now, when I pump into kegs, I'm filling through the outflow, so it's going through the bottom, and the gas port, I took the check valves out. From the gas port, it's connected to here. So once suddenly there's no gas coming out of it, it's just circulating the cider. I can turn off the pump, close the valves, and pop that. That keg is now full. What I'll do is I take out 750 milliliters out of the keg and I put it in a bottle. And that bottle serves two purposes. One, it leaves a small gas gap inside of the keg so that I get more surface for carbonation contact. And two, now I have a sample bottle to keep in case there's an issue or to use to try and sell to another bar or whatnot. But I pump and I fill the kegs, and it's a very quick revolution now because once the keg's full, it doesn't spill on the ground or anything. It just goes right back into here. Once those are all done, happy, grab more kegs. I might rinse that with water really quickly to get any residual flavor out if I'm shifting flavors. Then I'm going to put more of the pre-mixed base into here to do the next flavor batch. Now the kegs they're actually put up with a collar that says clean. That way, because the kegs all look alike. So that's what it says. When I actually get a flavor in it, and this isn't the one I would use, but I'll write the information on here. And what goes on here is going to be what's the volume, what's the flavor in it, the keg number. There's serial numbers on here. The keg number goes on the collar, and the date that it was kegged goes on the collar. So there's actually quite a bit of history here for the record, and those numbers also get recorded in the batch log. So once the keg is filled, it's done. It gets schlepped into the cooler where it gets put under gas, and I'm running around 20 to 25 psi at 35 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, what is that, +2 centigrade? All right, so roughly 2 bar at +2, and I just leave it there. Cider does not pick up a lot of gas, all right? If you ever get a pour of cider, you'll notice the bubbles are gone quickly. Hey, I got a dog, you might have heard that. So anyway, from the keg to the customer. I will do another video sometime on my special hoses and fittings, but I wanted to let you know the idea of these tanks were never used. I got them off of Craigslist. They were going to make biodiesel with them, and then they gave up on it. I got a very good deal on these tanks. So I would encourage you to look around, but try and get new ones that have never been used, because otherwise you really got a lot of scrubbing to do. I did have to put another valve in here. That was cheerful because I had to get my body in through that hole and clean it and whatnot. But it doesn't leak, it's fine. And I'm going to take the valve off and just put a straight barb on it. So 2 tanks, bulk tank for bulk base, blending tank for flavor, goes into the kegs. Kegs are an economic alternative to bottles for starting. Well, my dog has spoken.